Alright guys, so our last module we looked at individual neurons, how they worked, how messages are sent through the neuron itself and then through neurotransmitters is passed on to another neuron if that's the appropriate action. And today we're going to look at, so those are like the pieces of the puzzle, today we're going to look at the whole puzzle. So what are the systems, the overall systems that your body uses to communicate? Okay, so you got your nervous system and you got your endocrine system. So the nervous system first is the much faster, using electrical signals, using neurons that we just looked at. Okay, so essentially you have two types of nervous system. You have your central nervous system and you have your peripheral. Okay, the central nervous system, as kind of the name suggests, essential. It's your spinal cord, it's your brain, it's the information superhighway basically that your brain is sending up and down and up and down. Okay, as it's receiving stimuli and then your brain is making the appropriate response for that. We'll look at the brain more next unit. And then you got your peripheral. Okay, so this is where it goes from the informational, like this is like the freeway system, to these are the individual streets to get to where it needs to go. Okay, and you have two types of, or two components, I should say more accurately, of your peripheral nervous system. Your autonomic, which is, as the name suggests, kind of automatic. It's a self-regulating system of your organs and glands, all that stuff that happens, your heart beating, all that kind of things, without you actively having to think about it. Okay, and then your somatic, which is your voluntary movement. When I'm doing this, like my brain's choosing to move and so on. Okay, so your autonomic and your somatic, and from that, your autonomic has the two different parts of it as well, your sympathetic nervous system and your parasympathetic. Okay, sympathetic is your arousal state, and your parasympathetic is your calming everything down. Alright, so you have your central nervous system is the brain and the spinal cord. Afferent is moving to the central nervous system, so this is from your external stimuli being taken from your peripheral to your central nervous system, and then from there going to the brain. And then your efferent is the opposite, your brain interpreting that stimuli and the information going through your spinal cord down to your somatic, your muscles, or your autonomic, whatever kind of the case may be. Okay, and then your peripheral nervous system. So again, you have your voluntary, your involuntary, and then from your involuntary you have your sympathetic and your parasympathetic. So your fight or flight. So you're walking down the street and your best friend jumps out in front of you and scares you. Okay, that will trigger your sympathetic nervous system. You don't control it. You don't like, oh, this is a surprising stimuli, I should probably react to this. Your body just automatically does it, and it has various effects on your body. Okay, like things like digestion shut down, your dilation changes, your body goes into a survival mode kind of thing. And then once that threat or that danger or whatever the arousing stimuli is goes away, then your parasympathetic's like, all right, calm down, like everything's good. And then your body goes back to more like normal functions in that state. Okay, so here's just another graphic for it. So central nervous system, peripheral nervous system, and all the different parts of it. Okay, this one's nice and color coded so you can kind of see how it flows down. And once more, so the brain, and we'll look at this more, the hindbrain, midbrain, forebrain, and all the different, well, this doesn't have lobes, but the different components of it. Your spinal cord, and then from your peripheral nervous system, your voluntary, your somatic, and your involuntary, your autonomic. Okay, so that is your central nervous system. It's very fast at taking information, stimuli directly in, and your body being able to make a response about it. But you also have another kind of communication system in your body that relies on hormones, not that quick electrical signal. So it's a little bit slower, but no less equally important into how your body functions, and that's the endocrine system. Okay, so this is made up of a network of glands, hypothalamus being the main one up here that controls your endocrine system. Okay, and those glands secrete hormones that have various impacts on your body. Okay, uh, estrogen and testosterone. Okay, so a big portion of like endocrine system is in the womb of releasing the appropriate testosterone or estrogen that signals the gonads to form into the appropriate sex organ, distinguishing male from females. Okay, your thyroid, your growth hormones. So all these things are released by your endocrine system that controls important functions of your body, and it's much slower and much longer lasting. So, when you have that electrical signal that can going through your neurons, that can start and stop real quick. It's signals being sent. Okay, we're good, and then we don't have to send those signals anymore once the parasympathetic nervous system kicks in. For your endocrine system, once it floods the hormones, they're kind of just floating out there, and it's a much slower but a much more powerful, long-lasting effect. So again, using the example of your friend jumping out from behind a corner or whatever and scaring you, that's why even after, your brain realizes, oh, like everything's good, this is just my friend, it was just a joke, and so on, you're still like really jittery, like oh my gosh, because that endocrine system has flooded your body with hormones, and takes a lot longer for that process to stop. So even though your brain's like, okay, there's no danger here, we're good, you're still like, oh geez, because the endocrine system flooded your body with the appropriate hormone, in that circumstance. Okay, so those are the two main communication types: central nervous system. We have the central nervous system, the peripheral nervous system, and then your endocrine system. Make sure you know the difference between those two and how they communicate with the body.